Kangela Primary School is in Delmas, a small farming town to the east of Johannesburg. Angela Stott is an educational expert who travels all over South Africa, observing classroom practice and mentoring teachers.
Now can we please open up on page 16? There's a short passage that
Angela's observing Nomsa Shlatswayo's grade 6 English class. Nomsa was once a pupil here herself. She's been teaching English for 10 years and wants advice on improving her skills in the classroom.
Did you know that deaf people have their own alphabet?
Did you know that deaf people have their own alphabet?
It's not deaf, it's deaf. Say deaf.
Later, Angela and Nomsa together watch a recording of the lesson.
Thank you very much, Nomsa, for being brave enough to let me come into your class. And there's some wonderful techniques that you use. And you've got a lovely way in which you engage with the children. Now, I want to go to a particular place where perhaps you can point out something that you could do differently.
They use their hands and fingers to make the letters of their alphabet.
They use their hands and fingers to make their letters of their alphabet.
All right, I'd like to ask you, what are you trying to make them learn here?
Besides being encouraged by our curriculum implementers that we should have about 10 minutes of reading sessions within our lesson plans. So we also do that to help them because it's not their mother tongue. I'm trying to improve their vocabulary, one. Secondly, their fluency in reading English.
I think that's excellent. And I also like the way that you pick up on certain words which they're not pronouncing, right?
It's not children, it's children.
Children.
Now, what do you think about comprehension? In other words, whether they're understanding what they're reading?
I still pick up some problems when it comes to comprehension because now the problem is I read the comprehension with them and then they read it and then I ask them what do they think, or they should predict the ending or tell us the entire comprehension, even if it's in their own mother tongue. But it's still a struggle. It's still a struggle.
So maybe what you could try is as they sit in pairs, they're going to work together like that. And perhaps you can say, everyone on the right-hand side, now you read the first sentence to your partner. So that's similar to what you're doing already. And then the other partner on the other side now has to explain to the other one what they've just heard. Maybe in English or maybe in their mother tongue. And in that way, they have to listen to the meaning and make sense of the meaning. And so then you're building the comprehension as well. And then next sentence, they swap around.
Now let us close our readers.
I want to go to a particular place where perhaps you can point out something that you could do differently.
Now let us look at the work that I gave you the other day. You were supposed to correct the verbs inside the brackets, whereby we were writing them in the simple present tense.
Just notice that while you're speaking there, what are they doing?
They are busy taking out their books.
So do you think that they are listening to what you're saying?
No, I think they lost something there.
So how else could you have done it?
I think I should have waited for them to take out their books first and then put them on the table, page to the last activity that they did, and then comment on that. Maybe I could have gotten their attention.
What was the first question? The word that was inside the bracket was visit. Now what did you do with that verb? Did you change it?
I put an S.
She said she added an S at the verb. Why did you put the S? Why did you add the S? What did you say about putting or adding an S to the verb? Why are we putting an S to the verb? We said something about putting the S or adding the S to the verb. What did we say? Why are we putting the S to the verb? Nobody remembers what we said.
I think you remember that,
Yes.
where you asked a question and then nobody gave an answer.
Yes, yes.
And in one way, there's the strength that you waited. You didn't immediately give the answer yourself.
Okay.
So you gave them some time.
Okay.
But on the other hand, we've got the problem that nobody's answering at all. So
Yes,
the
yeah,
lesson's
yeah.
not moving forward.
Yes.
You see, I have the idea that maybe some of them do know the answer,
Yes.
but perhaps they're afraid
Okay.
to answer.
Yes.
Can you think of any ways in which maybe they can feel safer to give their answer without you having to give the answer yourself?
Sometimes the reason is the language barrier, because they start English in grade 4.
Yes.
So sometimes they've got this problem of expressing themselves in English. That's what, so you give them some time and then you ask them in their mother tongue. Then they can tell you in Zulu.
Okay, so that could have been one technique.
Yeah.
Another one that I'd like you to try out
Okay.
is that what you could have done is you could have said, tell your neighbor.
Okay.
What do you think the answer is?
Okay.
Tell your neighbor.
Okay.
And generally they feel a bit safer if they can just speak to the one next to them.
Okay.
They don't have to speak to the whole class.
Okay.
And then you could go around listening to what they answer. Perhaps you find a child who really answers well.
Okay.
Perhaps in English,
Yes.
maybe not even, but then you could pick on that child, you know,
Okay.
say, so-and-so has a really good answer. Can you share it with the whole class?
Let us look at the next one. Mrs. Ndlovu chew meat. Yeah, what did we do with the verb? You put an S at the end of the verb, Angisho. So it's going to be Mrs. Ndlovu chews meat.
So what was your purpose in this section of the lesson?
It was to correct the previous work. That was the purpose, and in order to revise the present tense.
Good. But remember, this is about 10 minutes into the correction time.
Yes.
So maybe we should look for ways to speed up that time
Okay.
so that you don't need to spend so much time on corrections
Okay.
and make it more effective.
I think maybe if we work on number 1, make a correction on number 1, everybody should write it down. Then move on to the next one. Everybody should write it down until we have completed everything. Maybe in that way it can be effective.
Another possibility is that maybe you only needed to write the correct word and not the whole sentence.
Okay.
And then the child quickly fixes that mistake and we go on. Maybe 5 minutes. And then what I would really love to see is that you actually make the children use these words in sentences of their own.
Okay.
So that English is a living language. It's not just something we write in books.
Okay.
So how about if you had the word visit
Okay.
and you can say, I want you to use the word visit correctly in a sentence that you choose. And you go around listening to their sentences. You hear a child who uses a really good sentence. I will visit you tomorrow. You visit me, whatever. A correct sentence. And you say, listen everyone to so-and-so's answer. You use their name so that they feel important.
Okay.
And then they can answer proudly because, of course, you know that they're right. So in that way, then the English becomes alive rather than just being a lot of homework or classwork that we mark. What do you think perhaps you can try to change in your practice when we come back next time?
I think that the tips that you've given me are going to help me a lot, because now the periods that we have are only 45 minutes and it's difficult to cover everything within that 45 minutes. But looking at what you have said, especially the corrections part and other things that you have noted, if I can use that effectively, I might be able to cover most of the things that I'm supposed to cover within a single period. It's helped a lot. The session has really helped a lot. I think I'm going to use it.
A week later, Angela returns to Kangela. Has Nomsa replaced chorus reading with pair work to improve the children's English comprehension? Are pupils discussing what they're reading so Nomsa can monitor how much they understand?
The instruction is read the following passage aloud with your partner, taking turns to read the paragraphs.
If some of these animals are kept in zoos, that we can make sure that the animal do not become extinct.
If they shoot the animal will become extinct. Do you understand? Yes.
Amanye ama-animals ahlala ezoo, then benza sure ukuthi ama-animals lawa ahlali ndawonye espacini esiyi-1.
What does the word extinct mean?
Rhinos are being shot, and extinct means that we may no longer have rhinos living in South Africa.
Is there anybody who can use the word zoo in a sentence? Build us a sentence using the word zoo.
There are many different kinds of animals in the zoo.
Thank you, class.
Okay, thank you very much, Nomsa. How do you feel that the lesson went?
I think it went well. In fact, I feel these learners are beginning now to understand better the comprehension exercise. Yeah.
Another thing that you did very well, last time you had a situation where you asked the child, you know, what's the answer? Well, you asked the class, what's the answer? And everyone was just frozen, no one wanted to answer. And then I suggested that you get them to speak to one another because they feel more comfortable. And that's what you did. And it looked like they were comfortable speaking to their neighbor rather than having to say to the whole class. Yes. And then you also started to try this idea of getting them to use English rather than just you using it and them copying you. That they were building their own sentences. I heard some really nice sentences as I went around. So I think that they are making English their own.
I was in fact enjoying every minute of it. So I think I'm going to use this method. It's quite much simpler. They are more at ease with their friends than maybe with me, you see. I'll just use it.
Thank you very much, Angela.